A vampire masturbating in front of the mirror. Didn't see that coming, did you?
I shouldn't laugh at you. I tell myself every week, don't encourage it. Don't laugh at him.
But every week you do it, every week I do it.
My Dixie Rex.
Guess we're ready for the show then. The writing is atrocious. Not a single joke come even close to remotely landing or being funny.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn.
I don't know why, but that is extremely interesting to me. I'm into that kind of thing.
Get to the chopper. Sorry.
I feel like we're so spoiled by the internet these days.
Thankfully, this does wrap up quite quickly.
Step back. You're gonna fuck up in a minute.
I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher.
How do you know about these people? And what the fuck is this pattern?
This effect made me want to die.
This couldn't make its mind up on what it wanted to be.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn.
Hello and welcome to our regular listeners and our new ones as well, if you stayed after the opening joke. Just know, if you laughed at that joke, we now own you and you can never leave. You have to listen every week. That's the rules.
That sounds creepy.
It does a little bit. This is the You Run Podcast horror movie review, an interactive horror movie review show run and controlled by all of you. We're a weekly show that's run by me. I'm Scott.
And I'm Mark.
And we take you through horror movies either voted for in our Instagram polls every Monday or new releases if the mood so takes us. Basically, the show's just an entire smorgasbord of fun, entertainment, interactive features like 3-word review, memes to make you mad, which is on this episode in a kind of new format. If you've got anything to say to us, anything at all, if you like what we say, if you disagree with what we say, if you just want to just share what you've done this week, you can do that in lots of ways. You can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us an audio DM on Instagram or record us a tick-um-tock with no music and it will get played on the air too, which is what's happened this week. So on the back of our Evil Dead Rise episode, Rebecca, the Miller Jimenez crew on TikTok, go and give her a follow, had some things to say about Evil Dead Rise. And here's what she had to say.
Listening to You Run Podcast, their new episode, I honestly don't remember what I said, so I don't remember what's going to be in there on me. But it's bothering me how much everybody is saying a guitar technician is a groupie. My brother was a stage technician, and he had to have a college degree to do that. So guitar technicians probably have a degree of some form, and it is a totally different thing than a roadie. So a groupie would just follow. They don't actually work for them. There's roadies and then there's techs, and they're different things. And my brother has done them both, and they both pay. So I don't know, man. I don't like how they kept calling her a groupie.
I feel like this is on you because I didn't.
No.
I was unsure.
They referred to her as a groupie in the movie. And
I mean, well, they do and they don't. They kind of insult her and by saying, "Oh, the groupie," but they don't actually like. She's not. Her character's not considered as a groupie.
No,
that's just like the insulting nature that the rest of the cast take towards her.
Yeah, technically, I think a groupie fucks, not follows. I think that's my understanding of a groupie. I don't know if that's correct. Have I just opened a whole can of worms with that comment?
This is on you yet again.
I'm used to it. Not only do we let you get involved like that and let you pick the movies, we also like to give back to the horror community. Well, Mark does. No, that's not true. We both do, but Mark found the best way of doing it. And that's with his
recommended account of the week.
So this week's recommended account is mostly horror. It's been a while since I've recommended an account similar to this. So I figured I would go back to something that I've done before. This is an account that floods Instagram with still shots and scenes from various films throughout horror cinema. Scenes that we all remember and reminisce over and have nostalgia for. It's a great account for me to follow because every time I see one of their posts, it's usually an obscure film. I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't seen Night of the Living Dead 3 forever, or I haven't watched
Zombie Carpet Fitters 7.
Yeah, something like that. But as well as some of the dog shit out there, they do post obviously stuff from like It and Evil Dead and your Screams, and it showcases every film within the horror genre. But it's a good account as well because not only do they just, instead of just randomly posting scenes, they'll put in the bio or the description of the post which film it's from, or if it's a scene from, say, Stranger Things, for instance, and they've got to see a post up of Steve holding a demi-dog. I don't know if they do have this or not. This is just me spitballing right now. But they always list what episode that is from that TV series, or the film and the year in which the scene's fought, which I know sounds like a small detail, but there is countless profiles out there where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I always have to comment and be like, I can't remember what film's this from.
Yeah.
Whereas this one cuts out that legwork for you. Really cool account. I use it quite regularly for stuff when I'm just sat, instead of flicking through Netflix or Amazon or anything, I'll just usually go to a profile like this and think, oh yeah, that's cool, I'm going to watch that today. So this account is called Mostly Horror, and you can find them at Instagram as Horror Movies, but instead of movies spelt with an O, it's spelt with a 0.
So go and follow them, go and like some of their stuff, and tell them that Mark sent you there, or I sent you there, or we both sent you there, or whatever. Just say, You Run Podcast said you're cool. I think you're cool too.
Yeah, something like that I'll do.
I actually want to see that on their post. You Run Podcast sent me here. They said you were cool. Turns out you are cool.
Yes, that would be nice. Why are not more people doing that?
People are doing it. I actually saw one the other day where someone had commented, You Run Podcast sent me here. And I was like, fucking yes.
Oh, that's cool. So
really,
you get the light because you're in charge of the page for the podcast. So that's why I don't notice.
This is true. Or you can put at MW Horror Reviews from at You Run Podcast sent me here.
No, I just put You Run Podcast sent me here. I don't need the credit.
I
you just let me know that they've gone.
Yeah, okay, I will do. This week we are taking on an 80s classic that has appeared and been beaten in over 35 polls since the show began. This is the most polled movie in the history of the You Run Podcast.
It blows my mind that we have not done this film yet.
This movie was polled before the show was even the You Run Podcast, and it's still fucking lost.
And I don't understand why.
I don't understand why. Today we look at a movie that is the 1980s in a bottle. The clothes, the music, the hair, the vibe. It all screams 1987. It was the launch pad for numerous careers, drug addiction and sexual vampire fantasies, not to mention having one of the best soundtracks to any horror movie ever put to screen. After 2 years of waiting, it's finally fucking time to go to Santa Clara, the murder capital of the world, for the Lost Boys.
Michael and Sam have just moved to Santa Carla, California. They're about to discover its secret.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No. It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
So where are you? The flying nun?
I'm your brother, Sammy. Help me!
Stay back! Stay back!
What's happening to me, Star?
Get yourself a good sharp steak. Drive it right through his heart.
You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a damn blood-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
When a vampire buys it, it's never a pretty sight.
Michael, they're coming! Oh, shit!
Now, as we once got called out for not adding a spoiler warning to movies from the 80s, here it is.
Spoiler alert.
This show is spoiler heavy. We reveal the plot, the characters, the twists. We tell you everything. If you haven't seen The Lost Boys before, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Don't look at me. I'm not going to argue with that
No.
statement. It was brutal as fuck, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sort yourselves out.
Also, go and watch it, then come back and listen. If you have not seen it, go and watch it. It's like the most essential horror movie you must see.
Yeah, it's like heroin in a videotape.
Exactly that. Listeners score the movies, and they have scored this a 9 out of 10. IMDb rocking a 7.2 out of 10, and Amazon have gone with a 4.7 out of 5. You'll find out what we score it at the end of the movie when we do our roundup of the movie. We do a play-by-play run-through, and this week we decided we'd give you a little bit more control than we ever have done before.
No. You decided.
I had a beer.
You're an idiot, man.
I'm not being funny. Sober Scott cannot be held accountable for what drunk Scott did.
No, I will hold you accountable for this. This is all on you again.
I put a poll out saying, do you want us to have notes like we normally do, where we have kind of key points highlighted that we'll talk around? Or do you want us just to go in dry? And you all went, no notes, have fun. So...
Going dry. I thought you was going with an opening gag then for a moment.
That's your dirty mind, that is.
Look what you've turned me into.
I know. So this week, for the first time ever, literally ever, I have no notes. Mark has no notes, and we are going to discuss The Lost Boys scene by scene, all from our beautifully crafted, wonderful horror memories.
I can't believe of all weeks you have picked to do that this week.
We've waited 2 years to do it. Let's give them the fucking unfiltered, uncontrolled, just ramblings of two drunk middle-aged men.
I mean, I'm not middle-aged.
I am. So it's falling apart already. The movie opens up with an aerial shot coming into the boardwalk of Santa Clara. And you see a group of, like a gang, led by a very beautifully haired Kiefer Sutherland, harassing a couple on an amusement, like a merry-go-round.
Yeah, I mean, before you even get to the boardwalk, you get that. I know you mentioned it briefly, but I feel like it needs focusing on a little bit more. Is you get that sweeping shot across. I'm assuming it's the ocean.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah, and it slowly comes in, and you get
cry, little sister.
I know the song, but I couldn't remember who had sang it.
That one.
And it slowly starts building, and you hear the drum scene. A bit like the Terminator, actually, in a sense. And it slowly comes in, and then you get the title sequence. Bang! Lost Boys. Cry, little sister.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Man, honestly, every time I put this film on and I see that opening sequence, I'm like, oh, I'm home. I love it.
Do you know, I went into this going, I've not watched this in a long time. I might shit on this movie now. Literally, the second it went, did you? I was like, yeah, I'm in. Settle in. Love this movie. Nothing had happened on screen. I'm looking at an ocean and an amusement park in the distance. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. This is great.
That's it. It just takes 10 seconds. If ever you were in ever doubt about how you felt about The Lost Boys, if you haven't seen it in like 5-10 years' time, you're like, I can't remember if I like The Lost Boys. The first 10 seconds will make your mind up whether you love this film or not.
Yeah. This is going to be a very gushing episode. Definitely.
Yeah. What gave that away?
So we get Kiefer Sutherland and his little gang of Lost Boys, and they're harassing someone on a merry-go-round. And the security guard is very hands-on, but it was the 80s. He comes in, like, wraps a truncheon around his neck, like, I told you not to come on the boardwalk. And I was expected, like, a bit of retaliation. Kiefer Sutherland was like, okay, that's fine. We'll leave. Just chill out, dude. And they leave.
They do. And they sort of like creepily slow motion walk around the merry-go-round as they're walking away.
Yeah. And if I was that couple and a group, they're teenagers at this point. Everyone sees Kiefer Sutherland as an old man, but they're teenagers in this. If I was out with Lisa and a group of 5 teenagers were like, leering around us. I'd be like, fuck, get the fuck away from me. Go away, you creepy little fuck, in your leather jacket.
Yeah, the kids don't wear leather jackets these days. It's like designer sportswear and petty little man bags, usually with a vape in their hand.
Hoodies.
Spitting on the floor and saying stuff like, oh, your mum.
Your mum. We cut to the security guard leaving the boardwalk. He's walking across the car park, and we get an aerial shot that in 1987, I have no fucking clue how they'd done this. They are high in the air and they come down and swoop towards him as he runs to his car. He gets to his car.
It's pre-drone stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, way pre-drone. I have no idea how they've done this shot. And watching it this time, I'm like, how did you get that high? You didn't get a boom that high. What did you do? Fucking throw a camera?
Because these aerial shots are quite frequent throughout this film. We get another one immediately after this, but they're quite shaky. So I would just assume it's helicopter based with a zoom lens.
It's very cool.
So they can control the in and outs of the zooming, if that makes sense in any way. But because of the unsteadiness of it, I would assume it's a helicopter.
Yeah, it's cool. Whatever it is.
I would like to know the budget for this.
I have got the budget in my facts, so I will share the budget later. The security guard, who's quite a burly guy. Is burly the correct word?
No, he's morbidly obese. I think he's probably the most 2022 word to use.
Okay, he's a fat guy. He gets to the door of his car, he grabs the door, and then you see him ripped up into the air, and he rips the door with him. Fade to black. Don't see anything. You don't know what's taking him into the sky. Next thing we get is a family driving into Santa Clara. So you've got the mum, who's played by Diane West. You've got the son, Sam, who's played by Corey Haim. And you've got Michael. I can never remember who plays Michael.
It's
that guy.
It'll come to me. Keep going. It will come to me all of a sudden. And it's Diane West, not Diane West.
West. Tomato.
There's two different words altogether. It's Diane West.
I'm feeling upset that you are correcting me on pronunciation. You are the worst every week.
Let me have this.
Okay, you can have it. It's a win. They're driving into Santa Clara with their dog, Nook, and I'll always remember the dog's name because I love that dog. He's a good boy.
He is. In terms of good boys in movies and dogs, he is the goodest of boys.
Yeah, this dog and the dog from Prey are like the best dogs in the world ever.
I even think he trumps the dog in Prey, I'll be honest. He even trumps the dog in I Am Legend. That's how good this dog is.
Yeah, the dog in I Am Legend was a little bit simple, though.
I mean, that's a bit unfair.
It ran into a building full of zombies willingly. It's an idiot.
It's a dog, man. He wants to catch a ball and shit. What have you been mean to the dog
for? It's just another way of getting people to call into the show.
That's like taking Mick out of a baby, man. Why are you being that guy?
Yeah, but babies are arseholes.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's get
all the phone calls and voice messages I get about Buffy, if none of you come at Scott for this, and I swear to God, you all need to take a long, hard look at yourself.
Yeah. The dog in I Am Legend was a dick, and babies are arseholes. Bring it. Oh, fuck. Heather's just had a baby.
Yeah. Watch yourself.
Heather is bringing it hard. Damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're driving into Santa Clara, and they're having a little chat in the car, and you see them come in. And as they go past the billboard, Michael turns around, and on the back of the billboard, it's got Murder Capital of the World written. We now get the longest montage of Santa Clara. You get to see the promenade, you get to see the beach, you get to see all the people in that era. And it is literally like someone took a snapshot of the 80s and condensed it into about 3 minutes. It's great.
Yeah, and you get one of the most awesome soundtrack, as the Doors play People Are Strange.
People Are Strange. I'm going to sing a lot. I'm going to sing a lot this episode.
Yeah, I would be amazed if you didn't.
They're going to their grandpa's house. Thoughts on Grandpa?
The first interaction when we first meet Grandpa and you think he's dead, laid on the floor, and they walk over in panic because it's are you okay? You okay? And he's like, I think it's Michael who turns around and says, I think he's dead.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm playing dead. But I was doing a pretty good job by all accounts. Like, what a guy. I aspire to be this man when I'm older.
When I am older, I will be this guy without a shadow of a doubt. I'll be this guy coupled with the guy who pops footballs as they come into his garden.
Jason Patrick. I told you it'd come to me.
Did you Google it?
No, I knew it was Jason Patrick. It just came out of nowhere in my hand on my phone on Google.
Okay, at least we know it's correct. Yeah, they get to Grandpa's house and that they've moved there, and we find out that the mum's had a divorce, and instead of doing a legal battle, she decided not to fight and just to leave. And her dad makes the best comment ever. He's like, "You're the only woman in history I know who comes out of a divorce worse than when she went in."
Yeah, she could have taken everything.
Yeah, and coming from someone who's been through a couple of divorces, that doesn't happen in the real world.
I bet you wish you were married to Diane Weed.
Yeah, because then I'd have kept the shirt on my back twice.
You need to stop getting married, dude.
I know. It's my Pokemon collection.
People collect things. You collect wives.
Yeah, got to catch them all. Yeah. Anyway, Grandpa starts giving the house rules. I can't tell you how much I love this guy. He takes me to the kitchen. He's like, "Second shelf down is mine. That's where I keep my root beer and my really expensive chocolate. You don't touch it." And then he's walking away.
Yeah, and he flips down a cardboard sign over the shelf, and it says "old fart" or something like that.
Yeah, and he's like, "Also, don't touch anything. Everything has a place, and that's its place. You don't touch anything." You're that guy, aren't you?
I am 100% that guy. Me and my wife argue to no end. I mean, we spoke about it on the show, the headphone debacle back from circa 2 months ago.
Headphone gate.
Headphone gate, which happened recently. I don't like my stuff touched. Like, I grew up in a house with two sisters and my mother, and they would touch my shit. Like, don't touch my shit. If it's not where I left it when I left and I come home, shit's going down. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll come home, or like for instance, perfect example. This is how much of a knobhead I am. I'll be at work and my wife will text me like a picture. She's out with my daughter, say they've gone to the beach or something, and she'll send me a photo. "Hey, we're just at the beach, rah, 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 rah." And I'll see on that photo that she's wearing my jumper. Anxiety central, man. And I'm in a position where I'm like, do I cause a scene? Do I message her and say, "Don't touch my shit, why are you wearing my jumper? Don't get sand on my jumper"? Or do I let it slide and be the cool husband?
You need to be the cool husband.
I'm never the cool husband. I always lose my shit. Don't touch my stuff, man.
So Lisa's mum has got like borderline OCD with like stuff in her house. There's something I've been doing for quite a while now, and she's aware that I do it. I think it's funny. She gets really pissed every time. So we'll go in and she's got like ornaments on the shelf or whatever. And she'll go, "Do you want a coffee?" I go, "Yeah, coffee would be good." And then she'll go out to make coffee and I will move all of her ornaments.
Dude, I hate you. I hate everything about what you stand for. Why would you do that?
And she'll come in and she'll sit down and she won't notice, and we'll have our coffee. The kids will play in the garden and we'll leave. About 3 hours later, Lisa will get a text. "Tell your other half I fucking hate him."
Oh, so it's unanimous then. It's not just me.
No, it's not just you. But Grandpa gives the rules to the house, and after a bit of messing around, they settle in, and they all go out that night, and they head down to the Broadwalk. Is it a Broadwalk?
Oh, no. Before we get there, we have one of the best lines in this.
Yes, we do.
Entire film.
The
TV
guide.
magazine is on the side, and Sam picks it up. Sam picks up the TV guide. He's been whinging about the lack of TV in his house since he's arrived. He finds the TV guide on the side. He picks it up and he runs over to Grandpa and he says, "Oh, there's a TV guide here." Oh, no. I think Grandpa's explaining the TV guide. When it comes through the post, if the sticker is slightly peeled off, don't be tempted to peel the sticker off.
Yeah, because you'll tear the
because
cover.
It pulls the ink off it. And if you tear the cover, I don't like that. I am Grandpa. At which point Sam's like, "Oh, well, if you've got a TV guide, you must have a TV." So Grandpa's reply is, "I don't need a TV. If you've got the TV guide, you read the TV guide, you know what's on, so you don't need to watch TV." I made that sound fucking awful, but it's a lot better in the film.
Yeah, it is. And it's, I couldn't do that. Do you remember TV guides?
Yeah, that's how I knew when like the League of Gentlemen was on, or Gimme 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 was on like 9 p.m. on BBC Two.
I wonder how many of our listeners don't remember the TV Guide.
That was like my year of my childhood because I didn't necessarily have the weekly TV Guide because you used to get it in the Sunday paper and it was like a magazine, but you also got a certain page in your daily newspaper which was dedicated to that specific night. So that was me. Like when the newspaper came in, I was like fucking 8, 9, 10. I don't know. I'm ancient now. I can't even remember how long ago this was. But I didn't used to flick through trying to read the news. I was like you go straight to the centerfold, and then
What time is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on?
Oh no, because I was still into like adult TV, so I'd like have a TV in my bedroom, so I'd be up late watching telly.
What time is Eurotrash on?
Yeah, Eurotrash was a big highlight. Channel 4, and you'd have to go down to about 10:30, 11-ish to know which time it was on.
Yeah.
It's usually about 11:15.
Yeah, it was 11:15 after the Channel 4 news, not that I ever indulged in Eurotrash.
No, not that I ever remember or I ever watched it, but I kind of just glanced at it occasionally on the TV.
Hello, it is me, Jean-Paul.
That show is actually really, really good. If you go back now as an adult and watch that, and actually watch it for what it is, it's really fucking interesting. Because he goes to like weird museums, and it's like Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends, where he goes and just checks out all these strange places. Obviously, he's a teenage boy. He watches it for different reasons.
Do you remember Lola Ferrari? Used to appear quite regular.
Was that the big busty blonde woman?
Yeah, she had the biggest boobs in the world at the time. They literally looked like 2 beach balls shoved in a bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so uncomfortable to have to carry that around.
Well, they were inflatable. They were fine. She just deflated them off screen. It was okay. And this is what happens, listeners, when we don't have notes. Just so you're aware. This is all on you.
You all brought this on yourselves.
You did. They head down to the Broadwalk after Grandpa's moaned about the TV Guide. When we get to the Broadwalk, we get the most oiled up, saxed up, I don't know, mountain of a man that is Tim Capello playing I Still Believe. I still believe. That one.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I think so. I'm done.
Oh, this is not going to be the first and last time you do that tonight. I like Tim Capello. I love this scene. In fact, I love everything about this sort of tone and vibe and direction that this goes in. It's so MTV, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Tim Capello was awesome in this. He was awesome when we saw him at For Love or Horror. He was the fucking highlight of the show.
Yeah, because we've seen him perform this live.
Yeah,
with fire, pyrotechnics, and all sorts.
It's
fantastic.
Literally, the scene from The Lost Boys in a warehouse in Sheffield. He's still covered in oil. He still has big muscles that Elise swang off of as he walked past, and he still plays the saxophone. It's exactly the same. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, because you would watch this and you'd be like, "Oh, that guy's just an actor." But no, this is a very, very talented saxonist, I suppose. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, I think so. We'll go with that.
Very talented saxonist, and he's incredible. I mean, he's a very, very talented musician. He used to play for Tina Turner.
Yeah, he did.
A few other. He even went on tour with The Darkness as like the opening act on one of their tours back when the Darkness were a big thing as well. And when I believe a thing called Love came out and stuff like that, he was the opening act for The Darkness on their big tour back when they were mega famous.
I imagine he got a bigger pop from the crowd than they did.
Imagine going to watch The Darkness. Like, you've got to be a certain type of person anyway to go on and watch The Darkness. No insult to The Darkness, I quite like some of their songs.
I do too.
But getting there and thinking, oh God, I can't wait for them to play I Believe in a Thing Called Love. And then Tim Capello comes out and does The Lost Boys, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. The Darkness's job when they get on stage is 10 times easier because the crowd is already pumped for whatever shit they're going to churn out.
Yeah, and I have to feel like Justin Hawkins, who's the lead singer of The Darkness, he's a very, very talented guy. He recently does like a YouTube show where he dissects like popular songs and he breaks them down and talks about how musically important they are and relevant they are. And whether that be a great song or a shit song. He's a very, very intelligent man and a fantastic musician. I have to believe that it was his decision to track down Tim Capello and give him that resurgence in his career.
And Tim Capello, honestly, is awesome. Really nice guy. Like, he walked past us and didn't just walk past. He's like, "Hey guys, how's things? You having a good event? Oh, brilliant! Yeah, great." He was genuinely great guy.
I mean, even when he was doing his performance on stage at the For Love of Horror, he came off the stage and he was walking through the crowd and
got molested by Elise,
sexually assaulting him, and he was still professional and cool as shit and played his song, even though he was getting somewhat semi-raped by Elise. But then even after that, while the event was unfolding and everybody was all sat behind there like ropes and desks and security guards and all the rest of it, Tim Capello was just melling about through the crowd and just walking through as if he was a nobody. And everyone was like, "Oh, it's Tim Capello." And he was stopping and taking the time to speak to fans and be like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?"
Yeah, great. Absolutely great. While this performance is going on, Michael and Sam are watching the performance, and Michael gets distracted by Star, and rightly so.
Yeah, right. She's a very, very beautiful woman.
She is, and she's playing a younger person, but when she filmed this, she was 22. So I don't feel bad about anything I'm going to say regarding Star. She is stunning.
So what age are they supposed to be playing or portraying in this film? Because Americans are weird with their casting, because they always cast like 20-somethings to play like 13, 15-year-olds.
Yeah, no, Michael and Star, I think they're meant to be 18. I think they're at the end of their schooling, so they're right at the very end. And then
that can't be true, because Lucy later on says things are going to change around here when you go back to school. And she's saying that to Michael.
Maybe they're meant to be like 16, 17 then, because they go to school until 18 in the US.
Right.
But yeah, they're all in their 20s, apart from Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, who are younger. And they're meant to be portraying like 13, 14-year-olds.
When they're clearly 16, 17 themselves.
Yeah, exactly that. Michael follows Star through the crowd and drags Sam with him. And I love that their relationship as brothers is great, because Sam is giving him so much shit. He's like, "You following that girl?" He's like, "No." He's like, "You're following that girl." "Well, yeah, I might be, but just shut up and follow me." He's like, "In fact, you can stay here." And Sam's like, "Actually, I will stay here." And then the camera pans round and we see the comic book store, and he goes in.
I want to ask, have you got a brother?
I haven't. I've got a sister.
You have? I knew that. I don't know why I asked. I did it for the audience purposes, of course. I know you as a person. We are close friends. We'll move on. Do you get jealous when you see relationship dynamics like this? Because I've never had an older brother, or I've never been excuse me, I've never been an older brother to, like, I'm an older brother to a sister, but I don't have that brotherly male dynamic. And I have friends who have that.
Do you know, for me, I've got, obviously, my son lives with us, who's 16, and Lisa's son lives with us, who's also 16, that we both had from previous relationships. They are inseparable. They're like a buddy cop team that fucking finish each other's sentences, bail each other out of the shit. And I look at them and go, "Fuck you guys."
Dickheads.
Why did I not have that? And like, me and my sister bickered like mad, like even now, me and my sister still bicker.
Yeah, I have that relationship.
It's just like a brother-sister thing. That's just what we do. We bicker, and like Jack, our youngest boy, and Ocean, our youngest girl, they bicker the same as me and my sister did. But then the two boys are like, "Yeah, we're just going to go get a haircut, going to go chill out in town for a bit."
Yeah, you see, I had that through friends where, like, your friend, like, say I had a best friend, his older brother, and then, like, once every now and again, you'd, like, be in a situation where all the older brother's friends would be around, but we'd also be there.
Yeah.
We'd be involved, and they'd introduce us into the mates, and we'd have a night with the big boys. That was cool as shit, man. Like, I would like to have had an older brother to have that growing up.
Yeah, like for Jack. So Jack's nearly 8, and Jack will go like up and he'll go and play like PlayStation with the boys.
Yeah. He
struts out of that room like he's just won the lottery. He's like, just been chilling out, playing PlayStation with the boys. How you been, Dad? Honestly, it's like, if he's up there playing, it's like, right, it's time for dinner now. He comes out of the room like, I've just ruined his life. He's like, but I was playing with the boys. It's like, do you not understand how important this is to me, Dad? Yeah, but you need to eat.
And you need to go to bed because you are a lot younger than everybody else.
Yeah.
But my point is like you can genuinely feel the closeness between these two actors. It feels very much like Corey Haim is looking up to Jason Patric within this, and you can see that Jason Patric's almost taking him under a wing in a sense.
Yeah, it's very genuine.
It's
very
authentic,
genuine.
isn't it? It's really, it feels very real. The admiration Haim has for Patrick in this film, and it plays very well on screen.
Yeah, it really, really does. Which I'm going to say something now that's going to upset lots of Lost Boy fans, and probably you as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the Frog Brothers that he meets in the comic book store.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not really a big Feldman fan, if I dare say that on air.
No, I'm not either. I'll say it with you. Feldman's
I like
weird.
him in Gremlins, and I like some of the stuff he has done as a child actor. But when it came to him in here, his Rambo impression is so over the top. It's almost annoying.
The crazy thing is, though, it does fit the time period. It does. Everything fits. I don't know. I find the dynamic of the two Frog Brothers. So Sam goes in, he's looking through comics, and like they're just like lingering and looking. And like on this watch, I'm going, well, they're obviously trying to work out if he is potentially a vampire, but they're just creepy as shit.
Yeah, they are. And it's what's the guy who plays the other Frog Brother?
I don't know. Unknown star, never made it big after this.
But he was great. And that's my point. Like, I felt he was a lot more impressive than Feldman in this role. Like, I felt his character a lot more digestible and a lot more relatable. And although there is scenes between him and Feldman later on where they're both being sort of overly silly with each other, especially later on as they're outside the cave, but we'll get to that. I just felt Corey Feldman's performance in this was just so satirical, the way that he acts and portrays. It's like, oh, we want you to be this badass rogue sort of vampire hunter, but he's playing it above his years.
Yeah, he does crack me up at times. Like when Sam's looking through the comics, they're like, so you're new in town. Notice anything strange? And Sam's like, yeah, you've put Superman 42 as Superman 283. They've not even discovered kryptonite yet. He's like, what the fuck are you two idiots doing? And he's like, well, you need to read this comic. And he almost goes borderline Batman. Read this comic, boy. And he hands him a comic for like vampires. Like, I don't read horror comics. He said, think of it more as a survival guide. And Sam's like, yeah, okay then. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to leave you two weirdos, and I'm going to go because you fucking weird.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, our number's on the back. Just hope you never have to call us. And he's like, I hope I never have to call you. But again, that's down to him. That's down to him's performance. He's the comic relief. He's the one that's creating that laugh a minute within the dynamic, not Feldman.
Yeah. And Haim is this. If anyone wants an idea of how sarcastic and cheeky I was at the age of 13, 14, watch The Lost Boys. I was Corey Haim. I was the guy going, I really hope I never have to call you freaks ever. Okay, I'm going to leave now because you scare me. Corey Haim in this is great. And Corey Haim was great in pretty much everything he touched. I've really, really liked Corey Haim.
I'll have to be honest with you. I don't know him from anything outside of this.
Oh, I'll send you a list after. Loads of Corey Haim shit you need to watch. Corey Haim plays Corey Haim in every film. So in this, take the character of Sam and drop him into every other film Corey Haim has done. It's that.
Yeah, I'll take that all day long. I loved his jacket in this scene. I even messaged you when I was watching it. I was like, I really want that coat.
I love his shirt.
What was his shirt?
His shirt was like a blue, like sky blue Hawaiian shirt. It's fucking awesome.
Because they even say to him at one point, it's like, oh, nice coat. And then it's like, oh, boy, I can't even remember the line now. Something about him being a fashion victim, and it has me barrel laughing every time.
Yeah, and honestly, I've got shirts like that now that I wear when we go on holiday. When we go on holiday, I turn into Hawaiian shirt. I wear like straw hats. I am proper like Brit abroad.
Yeah, of course you are.
I'm wearing aviator glasses from Top Gun. I'm wearing Corey Haim's shirt, and I'm wearing the tightest jean shorts I could possibly squeeze into. That's my holiday attire.
Sounds like a scene from Little Britain, let alone.
After this, we get Michael is kind of caught up with Sam now, and he's still following Star, and he follows Star all the way to Star's boyfriend. And Star's boyfriend is Kiefer Sutherland. And she gets on.
Because not David, apologies, we haven't got there yet. Michael is mincing around the boardwalk and he finds the leather jacket stall and he's like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to buy this jacket so I can be super cool. And then he gets his leather jacket and then he walks a bit further, buys his super cool sunglasses. And then he sees two girls getting their ear pierced.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, she's looking as if to say, shall I have mine done? And then Star sort of creeps up behind him. He's like, oh, don't pay for that. It's a rip-off. I'll do it for you for free. And then he sort of like jauntily follows her along the boardwalk.
And rightfully so. I would have followed her to the pits of hell to have my ear pierced by her.
Dude, man.
Would you not have? At that age, would you not have followed her to the pits of hell?
I mean...
You would have.
Yeah, okay, I would.
When they meet, I like David. I know he's meant to be a bad guy, but I really root for him. I think he's great. Kiefer Sutherland's performance as David is stunning.
Yeah, he has that perfect balance between likable villain, because he's clearly the antagonist of the situation, but he plays it in a way that you can't help but root for him to succeed, even though you know you shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly that. And he's like, oh, why don't you come with us, Michael? And Michael's like, oh, look, my bike's not fast enough to keep up with yours. Like, oh, no, my bike's not fast enough to beat you. He's like, you don't need to beat me. You need to keep up. With that, Michael gets on his bike and they all drop down onto the beach and they all shoot across the beach. It's, God, you know you want to sing it.
Stay away from the night.
Lost in the shadows. Oh, great song. And you see them, like, they burn across the beach. And I watched this multiple times. They are not stunt riders. Even when they're going hell for leather across that beach, that is Kiefer Sutherland and whoever plays Star on the back.
Yeah. And you even get the scene where they all just bomb down the stairs from the boardwalk onto the beach. And you see Jason Patrick at the top really, really hesitant to go down the stairs. And then he finally does it to keep up with everybody. It's like, yeah.
And it's all that. It was the 80s. We don't have money for stuntmen. Get on that bike. I want you to ride that bike across the beach as fast as you can. Could you imagine saying that to a teen star now? They'd be like, fuck you. Where's my stunt
because even
double?
Patrick falls off the bike when he gets to the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, nearly stacks it, like properly stacks it.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit!
It's like properly stacks it, falls into the stand, and then picks it back up, and he's off straight away.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether that was an acting cue or whether that was just a.
I think that was.
I'm not qualified to do this.
Cut, please, cut! I hurt myself. He follows them all the way through the forest. They go up across the beach. They go up into the mountains. They're going through the forest, and it's all misty and dark, and you can't see anything. You keep getting these great shots of like them lit up white and all the mist around, and it's him neck and neck with David as they're riding towards the edge of a cliff, and he like slides off his bike, and he's like, "The fuck are you doing? You're crazy, man!" Run! As I'm right going, and David's like,
"Oh." Fully whacks him as well.
Yeah. Proper gives him a spack.
And this is how cool David is as a character, because first of all, Jason Patrick's Michael takes his girl, offers to take her out for lunch, and immediately, instead of David being like, fuck you, dude, that's my girl, he's like, hey, come be part of the boys. They have a little race on the beach. And then he fully like whacks him. Like
and he's
Conor
still
McGregor whacks him in the jaw, and he just turns and looks and be like, I can't remember what he says.
Yeah, how far are you willing to go, Michael?
And it's like, oh, you're so fucking cool. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And he goes with him to their lair, effectively. So their lair is a hotel that has sunken into caves.
Yes, due to tornado, I believe, or
earthquake.
Earthquake, yes.
In real life, there is a hotel that has sunken into caves, and these caves exist. They've now been boarded off. They didn't shoot all of the internals in that cave. The outside is actually that cave. The internals does contain a hotel, but they didn't shoot it inside the cave. They recreated on a soundstage. But that hotel in a cave underground does exist.
That's amazing.
When I found it, I was like, that is so cool. I want to see photos inside. And there's like, you know, like these urban explorers?
Yeah.
There's like urban explorers who've like taken a dinghy to get to the entrance of the cave, and they've climbed like 50 foot up a sheer rock wall to get in.
They're dedicated, man. These guys are dedicated who do this stuff.
They're fucking insane. And they're like, we don't know if it's structurally sound in here, but we're going to walk through it anyway. Like, you're going to die. Mark, leave. Mark, what are you doing? Mark!
I did used to do a bit of that stuff back in the day. I have kids now. I can't be getting arrested for trespassing.
I love the set for this is just outstanding.
Yeah, incredible. It's one of my favourite scenes in the entire film is when they first come down into this hotel cave. It's really reminiscent to me of like the Goonies when they get to
One-Eyed Willie's.
Yeah, when they get at the end and it's like, oh man, and everything's so perfectly placed, and it is just a time capsule of everything that is 80s, not even horror, but just like cinema in general. Everything had this same sort of aesthetic to it.
First off, they said they're going to eat, and he gets takeout, and he gives Michael some rice. Michael's there chowing down his rice, like, how are you enjoying your maggots? And Michael's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, no, seriously. He looks down, he's got like a bowl of maggots. He's like, oh, okay.
Drops it on the floor.
Drops it on the floor, and then it's just rice, and they all have a good laugh at his expense. And then it's noodles next, and the noodles are worms.
Yeah, but this time he doesn't give them to Michael. David eats them himself. So he says, oh, how does he actually say the worms? No, he doesn't. He just says, oh, how about some noodles, Michael?
Yeah.
And then he points it towards him, and it's worms. And then he's like, oh, don't eat that. And then David just troughs down a load of noodles. But this is a perfect setup for what's to come.
Yeah.
Because he's already set in motion the confusion of what's real and what isn't real, that when it gets to the next moment, you're like, of course he's going to do it. Because he's been misled so much, he's just going to think they're winding him up again.
Yeah, so he hands him a bottle of wine. What he thinks is wine.
Yeah, he says,
Stars
drink this.
Stars like,
don't drink it, it's blood.
Don't drink that, it's blood. And Michael's like, fuck, shut up, silly bitch.
Yeah.
That's the energy he gives off. Like, if you watch that scene, he does that look over his shoulder that you and me have done to our wives many times. Like, fuck, shut up, idiot. Of course I'm okay to have my 83rd tequila. What is wrong with you? And he chugs it down, and you just see Star Heart just go, oh no.
Yeah. And one thing, have you seen What We Do in the Shadows yet? Have you watched it?
Yes, I have.
This scene is recreated perfectly in that film, where I can't remember the name of the new vampire that they introduced into the group, but they're sat there around the table, and they get out a tin of Heinz spaghetti and pour it onto a plate as if it's like a meal. Because the vampires in What We Do in the Shadows can't eat normal food, but they're introducing this guy. It's like, oh, how would you like some paschetti? And he's like, oh, I'm massively underselling this. If you haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, please go and watch it, because they recreate this scene to hilariously no end. It's fantastic. It really
What We Do in the Shadows takes everything that is vampire lore and takes the piss out of it to a point where even if you are the most avid lover of vampire movies and you will defend every little niche of that subgenre to the ends of the earth, you can't help but go, that was fucking great. Well done.
Honestly, man, I stand by the fact that I think it is one of the greatest horror comedies ever made. And I love Shaun of the Dead to no end, but I think What We Do in the Shadows is an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, it's up there with Shaun of the Dead. It's up there with Tucker and Dale. It's in the top notch. When you talk horror comedies, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What I found weird here, and I know it's an 80s thing, but I'm going to bring attention to it, is like after he's drunk the wine, all the boys go out for a ride on the bikes and they leave Star, and there's a little kid who's with Star.
Laddie.
They leave Star and Laddie at home and they fuck off out on the town. That's an 80s thing.
Yeah, boys will be boys.
Yeah, if this was a modern movie, Star and Laddie would be with them. They would.
That was your takeaway from the scene?
That was my takeaway for this scene. They go to the railway tracks and they're stood on the railway tracks. Dave's like, oh, it's perfect timing. And I always remember first time I watched this, like, perfect timing for what? For what? And then like all the Lost Boys start jumping through a hole in the railway tracks. And then David goes, are you coming with us, Michael? And David goes as well. And then Michael, give him his due, doesn't just jump because he's not an idiot. He leans over and they're all hanging from like pipes underneath the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And he tentatively climbs down and hangs with them. And then the train comes. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliantly shot scene. As
Fantastic.
you see.
It really, really is. It's really cool. You've got all the fog and mist underneath them and they're hanging there and the rails clearly shaking from the movement of the train above them. And one by one, they all start to drop into the mist below. And you can see the sheer fear on on Michael's face as they all start falling until the point where there's only David and Michael left. And David turns around to Michael and says, let go, you're one of us.
Yeah, you're one of us now.
And David, all the rest of them sort of drop half-heartedly and sort of tumble down. But when David drops, it's so fucking cool. He has his long trench coat on and he just falls and the trench coat flaps beneath him as he goes. And
as he hits, like the smoke the fog kind of comes up and like encapsulates him and he just disappears.
Yeah, he's like the smoothest way to go down. It's like, wow.
Yeah. And Michael's there, like, you see he gets to like fingertips and then he falls.
Yeah, he hasn't voluntarily gone. He's just not strong enough to withhold himself anymore.
Yeah.
And he screams.
He does scream like a girl. That's why Star will never love him.
We need to drop this obsession thing with you and female characters in movies.
But no, Star will never love him because he's a pussy.
Well, you reckon you could have held longer?
I reckon I could have got my legs back over there and got back up because there's no fucking way I'd have dropped with them.
Nah, Jason Patrick's a buff man in this film. He's a hunky man.
I'm a fat man and I could have got back up off of there. There's no way I'd have let go.
I'd have preferred to see you try and get down, I think.
No, I could never have got down there, but I could have got back up. You'd have known if I was there because the bar would have been bending under the weight that I'm putting on it. We get a hard cut to the following morning where David is waking. No, not David. Sorry, Michael is waking up in bed.
Yeah, I was always confused by this as a kid because I never understood the transition of what happened between him falling and him waking up the next day. And I know now as an adult, you're not really supposed to.
Now you've discovered alcohol, you understand that better than most.
I think since I've discovered David Gordon Green, I now understand. The need for jumping logic. So I kind of let that shit slide these days. But I would kind of like a little bit information in between to explain to us.
You're going to love release week on this. I wasn't going to say it, but now you've brought this up. During release week, there are 15 deleted scenes from The Lost Boys that I'll be releasing as reels.
You have them?
I have all the deleted scenes from The Lost Boys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's loads. There's loads of deleted scenes. I'll be releasing all the deleted scenes as reels.
Oh, that's cool.
Some of the deleted scenes are awesome. Like it's like you look at them and go, why the fuck did you cut that? Why did you cut that? That makes so much sense. Why cut that out?
Is one of them this scene?
No.
Well, what the fuck is the relevance that got to do with it?
I love when Michael wakes up that he's instantly given shit by Sam.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if there's a time pass between these scenes.
I think it's just night today because he wakes up at like 2 p.m.
I don't think it is. I think like time has actually passed because you get an interaction between him and his mum later on. like a couple of scenes later, and they're talking about how he sleeps all day and he only comes up, he's only out on a night. So I can only assume that between him falling off the bridge and then him waking up in that bed, there is a lot missing there that we don't know. And then it's sort of like infill. So I have to assume that this isn't the next day. Even though, weirdly enough, the clothes that he's wearing are all dirtied up as if it is the next day. But the dialogue that comes afterward makes me believe that this is sort of maybe a week or two later.
Yeah.
And he's been out every night with David and the Lost Boys. And
the dialogue would lead you to believe that. His dirty clothes would lead you to believe that he's literally just fallen off the bridge and woken up the next day.
Yeah. So it's quite misleading the way that it unfolds in the next couple of scenes as to where we are in the timeline.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, it kind of doesn't matter. This film's so good. I couldn't give a shit if it's a day, a week, or a decade.
I could not care nonetheless. This film's fantastic, but it's our job to pull this thing apart.
Well, we never do our job.
I picked this week of all weeks to try hard.
Well, why pick the movie we've waited so long to get on the show to start being really finicky overseas?
This is true. Moving on.
Sam comes in, and I love the fact that we've all been here. Hangover. Michael's like, yeah, can you just give him my shades? That sounds like, you're sleeping all the time. He's like, just shut the fuck up and give him my sunglasses. And he puts on a pair of shades, and then Sam's like, Mum's on the phone. He's like, tell her I'm asleep. She's like, no, you need to talk to her. And his mum's like, right, I want you to spend some time with Sam tonight. And he's like, but Mum, she's like, no, you've been out, you've not seen him, you need to spend, and he just does what all teenage boys do when their mum goes on a rant. Go, yeah, okay, fine. Whatever you want, Mum. It's fine. I'll do it. Where do we go from here? No notes. Where do we go from here? What happens after this morning scene?
So Lucy is planning a date with the guy from the video store, which is Max.
Yes, who's creepy.
So, very, very, very creepy. So Lucy, the reason why she wants Michael to spend time with Sam is because she has this date planned with Max, at which point we dive pretty much straight into no notes given. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is where we dive straight into the fact that Michael floats to the ceiling, and we get straight to the point because it's just, because she's on the date and Sam is in the bath and Anouk is doing guard.
That's
and
it.
Michael sort of semi-vamps out and starts feeling his bloodlust for the first time, if you will.
Yeah, and he's coming after Sam, who's sat in the bath and, doing what any kid in the 80s done. He's in the bath, washing his hair, singing a song.
Yeah, it's a Home Alone scene if ever I've seen one.
Yeah.
It's something straight out of a John Hughes movie. And he's in the bath singing along, mopping his hair up. And Michael creeps up the stairs, reluctantly trying to hold back his urges. And Nanook feels that something is arise and sort of sits up. And just perfect timing, as Sam dips under the bubbles, Michael bursts through the door and Nanook attacks.
Yeah, and Nook takes his fucking arm clean off.
It does, take his arm off. And forces Michael back out of the room, to which point Sam sort of wide-eyed jumps out the back of the bath and is like, oh, what's going on? At which point he then comes running downstairs in his dressing gown to find Michael at the bottom of the stairs in the shadows, bleeding from his hand. And he's like, what's going on? Why? What did you do to my dog? What have you done to Nanook?
I love the fact that he's like, what the fuck did you do to my dog? Not, are you okay? What the fuck did you do to my dog?
He's like, oh, Nanook attacked me. He bit me. He's like, why would he bite you, Michael? Why would he bite you? He's like, oh, he was protecting you. And then this is the sort of reveal we get in front of the mirror where we see that Michael is fading in his reflection.
Yeah. And Sam's got the comic book at this point as well. So Sam's got the comic book about the vampires. He's like, you haven't got a reflection, Michael. You're a blood-sucking fucking vampire. What the fuck?
Yeah. And one of the best lines in the entire film is like, oh, you just wait till Mum finds out about this.
Yeah, like that's what you do. You tell your mum, by the way, brother's a vampire.
And he storms up the stairs, to which point Michael immediately chases after him. Sam locks him out. Michael goes into his bedroom in distress, and Sam calls Lucy, his mum, while she's on a date with Max, screaming down the phone that Michael's a vampire, he's trying to kill me. And Lucy bursts out of a date, leaving Max all alone. And at this point, this is where Michael crashes on the bed. And as he sort of passes out on the bed, the next thing he knows as he wakes up is his face first on the ceiling. And the effects in this are really, really clever.
Really cool. They used the same set that they used for A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I was just about to ask, because I knew you would know that, whether they used the same set. So they used a rotating set that they did in The Nightmare on Elm Street, in which point, obviously, the ceiling is on the floor, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So Michael is now like panicking because this is the first time he's actually done anything other than try to attack Sam. Abnormal, supernatural-esque.
Yeah.
Because he can't control it. He feels like a helium balloon and he's panicking like, what the fuck is going on? How am I floating on this ceiling? He claws his way to the window to escape and then realizes that when he gets to the window, there is no ceiling.
Yeah.
As he's trying to float off into the atmosphere. He manages to scurry his way across. No, he gets the phone. He gets the phone on his way out.
Yeah,
and
he does.
interlinks with the phone. For those of you young children listening to this episode who have no idea what a corded phone is, if you have two phones in your house and you are on the phone, say if I was on the phone to you, Scott, and my mother picked up the phone that was downstairs,
we could all have a chat.
She would be able to listen to the same conversation. It was basically group chat before group chat existed.
Yeah, because how many times were you on the phone? Your mum pick up the phone and you'd hear do 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 as she's trying to dial your nan.
Mum, I'm on the phone.
Yeah. Mum, I'm talking to my girlfriend. Leave me alone.
So Michael picks up the phone and he starts going off and he's like, no, Mum, everything's cool. Don't worry. Sam's just being strange. And he crawls his way to Sam's window. Eventually, after much persuasion from Michael, Sam finally lets him in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Michael's like, look, we're brothers, Sam. We need to help each other.
Yeah.
And this is where things really sort of kick up a gear. And this is where the film sort of starts, in a sense, within the vampire sort of normal, stereotypical vampire movie-esque direction you would expect it to go.
Yeah, because this is where you get all the motorcycles outside the house, don't you, at this point?
Yes, you do. They're all flashing lights outside.
So all flashing lights, and like Michael goes out. When he opens the door, there's nothing there. They've all gone. It's a great bit of cinema.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, very good.
It's Joel Schumacher who directed this as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know that scene with all the motorbikes? You all the lights flashing and all the noise, and they're going past the house, and then he opens the door. It's all a single shot.
That's cool.
Really cool. And apparently there was a big, like, I don't know what they used, like a big horn or something, where he used the horn to tell everyone to switch the lights off, to time it as Michael opened the door, and then just pumping shitloads of dry ice and fake fog onto the set to hide all the bikes and shit that they had in the background, that they're like shining the lights in the windows. Really, really, really cool.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring up Joel Schumacher as a director at this point is because as a director, I know he's well respected and well loved. I don't think he necessarily has a great track record. This is a man who brought us Batman and Robin. I'm talking Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dr. Freeze, Batman.
Stay cool.
But the reason why I bring it to everyone's attention is because that the producer of this is Richard Donner. And Richard Donner is an incredible producer. He's also a director of films that most of you would know as Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Now, if you take Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, for instance, and look at the stylized way that they were directed and filmed and the scores and the soundtracks that are used within those first two Lethal Weapon films, there is no denying that Donner had a heavy hand in how this film played out.
Yeah, 100%.
You can even tell that from the opening sequence. The opening sequence to this and the opening sequence to the first Lethal Weapon film, the way that the score builds, the way that it comes in with the opening credit sequence.
Even the shot across the water.
It's almost identical. And although Schumacher takes all the credit for directing this film, I cannot for 1 second digest anybody telling me that Donner had no involvement in how this film played out.
Yeah, I think she was like, and then we're going to have Robin swing in. And Donner's like, no. we're not going to do that. That's not this movie. No, we're not doing that.
And we're going to have Conan the Barbarian to play David.
Yeah. I'm going to jump forward now, because we jump forward a little bit and we get the date at the home. So we get Max comes round for dinner at the family house.
We do, but I know you're trying to jump forward, but I'm going to pull you back again. before we get there, there was a brief conversation between Sam and the Frog Brothers regarding vampire law, and they're trying to work out who the head vampire is.
Yeah, because the
And they
law
all-
states if you kill the head vampire, everyone else who's not fed yet goes back to normal.
Yes, this does build into why we get back to the day at the house.
Yeah, it does.
And Sam and the Frog Brothers are trying to pinpoint who the head vampire is, and they're all with the assumption that it is David. They think David is the head vampire. It's not until Lucy goes round to Max's house to apologize for darting out on their date, because she never really explained to Max why she left. She just got a phone call from Sam screaming bloody murder down the phone, and then she upped and left. So she makes the decision to go around to Max's house during the day and take him some flowers as an apology.
Yeah.
As she does so, she goes through the gate and she is immediately attacked by Max's dog.
Yes. Thorn.
He chases her to the gate. It's Thorn, yes, I couldn't remember the name, thank you. He chases her to the gate and she falls over the gate. And you can see in this scene, Sam's panicked and looks, and immediately you can see the realization in his face. Because him and the Frog Brothers previously talked about the head vampire being guarded by the hounds of hell.
Yeah.
And it's at this point that Sam realizes that the Hounds of Hell is the dog that's just chased his mum down the garden. So this is why they now believe that Max is the head vampire.
And the dinner scene when Max comes round for dinner is brilliant. They're eating pasta and Sam's like, do you want some cheese? I grated it myself. He's like, oh, yes, I'd love some cheese. And he takes a big bite. He like, puts this all over his food and takes a big bite. He's like, and you're like, oh, he's dying. Why is he dying? And he's like, oh, this is garlic. And Sam's like, you don't like garlic, do you? He's like, actually, I love garlic, but it's a little bit too much. It's like just pure grated garlic in a bowl.
Yeah, because this is all a big ploy and a big sort of honey trap that Sam and the Frog Brothers have concocted between themselves, because they now know that Max is possibly the head vampire.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's coming over to their house for a dinner date, Sam and the Frog Brothers invade.
Yeah.
Because Lucy's like, oh, I'd love for you to stay, Sam, and get to meet Max and introduce you to him. So he's like, oh, yeah, that'd be really, really nice. But I have guests. But he doesn't tell Lucy that they're coming. It's just when the dinner's about to start. So, oh, I've got guests. I hope that's okay. She's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine. We've got room for two. And then they have all these little ploys and traps set up in order to pinpoint Max as being the head vampire.
Yeah, and I love the way they explain this away later. So they like try holy water, they try garlic, they try multiple things. I think they try the cross as well. And
the mirror's the best one.
Yeah, the mirror. And they explain this all the way later in such a beautiful, just one-line thing where Max is like, you should know inviting a vampire into your home removes all your power. Like, brilliant, perfect. Because I'm sat there going, why has the garlic not killed him? Why has that not worked? Why has that not worked? She's like, well, invite me in. I'll do whatever the fuck I like. And you've got no power at all. It's like, yes. Great.
Because they even focus on the point that Michael is on his way out in the middle of the night. He's going after, obviously this has all happened and he's now had this whole interaction with Sam where he's found out he's a vampire. So he's on a vengeance mission to go find Star.
Yeah.
To find out why the fuck everything is happening. And on his way out, Max is on his way in. And Max is like, you're the man of the house now. Without you inviting me in, I don't feel privileged to come into your home.
Yeah.
Right. And Michael nonchalant's like, yeah, whatever, dude, welcome. Come on in. Unbeknownst to him that he's just invited the head vampire into his house.
Go in, I'm trying to find Star. Do what you want. Yeah, Mum's in there. See you later. I love when, so it goes from this and they then work out that, or they come to the decision that obviously David and the others are, David's the head vampire, and they're going to kill them. And the only safe way to do that is during the day. This scene is brilliant from multiple reasons. One, because it's comedic brilliance, and two, because it's shot so well. So they go in and they stab the first vampire through the chest, and he falls and like drops down.
Yeah,
and
they nick Grandpa's car, don't they, and go to the church. I'm only mentioning Grandpa's car because one of my favourite lines in this entire film is about to come next. So they nick Grandpa's car and go to the kid. And the first vampire they kill is Ted.
Yeah, from Bill and Ted's Great Adventure.
Ted?
Yeah.
Why kill Ted? He has the greatest perm out of a lot of them.
He did have a bogus journey, though.
I was wondering how you would slip that in somewhere.
I tried. I was trying to work out if I was going to go with Excellent Adventure or Bogus Journey. What was Bogus Journey?
Yeah, Bogus Journey works.
Yeah.
I like the way that when they kill him, it's very unsort of traditional in terms of vampire lore. He doesn't just fade to dust. He screams bloody murder and the blood spurts everywhere. And I say blood, it's a very
Goopy.
glistening, goopy, Nickelodeon style goo that sprays out of him. And it doesn't just spray out of him, it sprays everywhere, soaking all the Frog brothers and Sam and everyone sort of within the vicinity of the area.
Yeah, and doing this wakes all the other vampires up because I think they expected him just to turn to dust. He screams fucking blue murder. Everyone wakes up and they make a run for it. And David grabs like Sam's leg as they're about to leave the cave.
Yeah.
And they yank him forward, which drags David's hand into the sun and it catches fire. And he kind of shakes it off and like pats it down to put the fire out. And then they've only then got a limited time before sun sets to get ready for them to come.
Yeah, because I'm going to circle back real briefly. One thing that bothered me in particular about this scene is the fact that prior to this, about 10 minutes ago, we first witness, I don't know where this lies, as again, I do apologise, we don't have notes.
No notes.
They go to the desert and Michael, David, and the rest of the Lost Boys are watching these punk sort of groupies listening to Run DMC around a fire. This is one of the most graphic scenes in the entire film as well, which is why I'm bringing note to it. They basically show Michael what they are and what they're capable of. They kill all of these punks around this fire. They're ripping skulls off. They're ripping throats out. There is blood. I mean, it's a very, very, very graphic scene, especially in comparison to what we've seen so far within this film. It's a very sort of middle of the road, poltergeist-esque, Gremlins-y kind of movie. We don't see a lot of blood and gore or anything up until this point. They just shred all of these guys and kill them all. And David, you can see him in the trees and he vamps out the same way as David and the rest of the Lost Boys do. And you can feel that sort of fighting and in a battle within himself, as if to say, this isn't me. He falls out of the tree, obviously purposefully, as if to push himself away from the scene, rolls down the bottom of the hill, and the rest of the Lost Boys walk up to the top of the sort of sand dune-esque place, and they say one of the best lines ever. It's like, oh, now you've seen what we are, now you know what you are.
Yeah, basically you need to feed now.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm circling back to this scene is because as Sam and the Frog Brothers are sort of pulling David towards the sunlight in order to burn his hand to make sure he lets go of Sam's leg, we have seen what David is capable at this point. I mean, he rips off skulls, literally, he's shredding humans, pulling limbs off left, right, and center as if it's fucking, I don't know, ripping broccoli from a stem. It's that sort of easy to him.
Yeah, and
the struggle between him pulling tiny little Sam and the two Frog Brothers back into this cave, seems really effortful for him.
You say that, but how alert and ready for action are you when you first open your eyes? If you woke up to someone screaming bloody murder in your house and then someone tried getting out your window, how actively aggressive are you to get them back in when you've still got like sleepy dust in your eyes?
Oh yeah, I get your point, but it seems illogical to me that he struggled in that situation.
Yeah.
But one of the really, really cool things about this scene in particular is as David burns his hand and lets Sam and the Frog Brothers go, you see him sort of cower back into the cave, into the darkness and the shadows, and you see a tear stream down from his face.
How they done that, I'll never know. It's just a single tear.
Well, I do know.
Oh, share, please.
I have facts. So this was actually unscripted. This wasn't actually part of the plan, but because of the contact lenses that Kiefer Sutherland was wearing, he was really agitated in his eye at the time. Really, it was causing him some serious disruption. And as he filmed this scene in particular, it wasn't scripted that he would cry, but because of the irritation from the contact lens, it caused his eye to water, which gave the effect that he was crying. And the guys loved it so much, obviously, and they just kept it in.
What a beautiful accent.
It couldn't have been more perfect coincidence.
As a director, you must have gone, cut. So you know what? That's a wrap for today because we can't top that. We're done now.
And it is one of the most iconic scenes in this entire film, and it was all by pure chance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy that. At this point, Sam and the Frog Brothers also got Michael and Star and Laddie.
Yes.
And they're all asleep because they're sleeping during the day. And I was first confused by this, but it's because they haven't fed yet. They haven't picked up the weaknesses of the vampires. They haven't got all their strengths, but they haven't got any of their weaknesses. So in the sunlight, they're okay.
Yeah, so it plays around with the lore a little bit. So they're sort of day walkers in a sense. They can tolerate sunlight, but at the same time, because they haven't fed, their power is... the way I perceived it was the fact that they're only going to get weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
So they've had the half-blood. They're sort of now turned into vampires. They're at full strength on this high that they're having. And the only way I can describe the experience they're feeling now is a come down, if you will.
Yeah.
For those of you who know,
very much so.
And you've experienced come downs, you will know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're going through the come down period of the after effects of taking drugs. And the only way to regain that high is to feed.
Yeah.
So until they feed, they're just going to malnourish more and more and more to the point where I just assume that they would die if they didn't commit fully to this life.
Yeah, I think so too. That's kind of the take I got from it. They take them all back to Grandpa's house and they all crash out on the bed. So you've got Michael, Laddie and Star are asleep upstairs and the Frog Brothers and Sam begin to prepare. 80s montage. Love it. Steaks. Let's fill a bath with holy water. Let's stick some garlic fucking everywhere. The thing is with this movie is it rides the line between borderline a joke with what they're doing, but they stick so true to some of the vampire lore and do it in such a funny way. Like this montage scene, I find myself going, dickheads. It's going to work though, but you're dickheads. Yeah, I love this whole sort of like where they're pouring the bath and like as they're pouring the bath, you Corey Feldman like fucking doing the sign of the cross with his hands.
Yeah, you even get that entire scene where they walk into a church and steal holy water while they're doing a christening, and all the audience, all the participants of the christening turn around and look at them like it's something from a sketch show.
Yeah,
as they're taking this holy water from this bowl.
Yeah, it's so tacky, but it works so well. The contrast of like real horror, like when you get that scene where the vampires descend on that bonfire and they literally rip people limb from limb. Going from that to seeing the Frog Brothers like almost like baste themselves in garlic paste is that cheesy.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, for some reason it works. In any other vampire movie, I'd be like, fuck you, this is bullshit. But in this, I go, yep, fine, based away.
And
boys.
I've listened to so many people talk about this film and say how it just didn't know what it wanted to be. But I kind of think that it did. I feel like it knows exactly what it wanted to be. I feel like it appeals to so many audiences.
Yeah.
And it perfectly blends every kind of element of genre together, such as comedy. But it does it. You know what, I'll save that for my roundup.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to touch upon really, really quickly is because the reason I brought up the fact that they steal Grandpa's car is because it has one of the best lines in this film that I wanted to talk about was before this montage scene takes place, they come back to the house after the cave and they're walking in. Michael has Star in his arms. Laddie comes running in. They've got the Frog Brothers covered in goopy glue and all the rest of it. And one of the best characters in this film is Grandpa, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says, instead of questioning what the hell is going on, he looks at Michael and he says, "Oh, do you know the first rule about borrowing Grandpa's car? About how you refuel it when you take it?" And Michael's like, "No." And he's like, "Well, now you do." I am that guy.
And also he's like, "I need some aftershave. Is there anything I can use for aftershave?" And Sam's like, "How about some Windolene?" He's like, let me smell it. And it sprays at his hair. He's like, "Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, the old widow Windshift's going to love this." And then he's like off out the door on a date.
Yeah, because the thing is that the writing in this is so impeccable that they plan everything perfectly. They've all come back and they know that David's going to come for them tonight.
Yeah.
And they have Lucy's going out on her date with Max again in order to rekindle it. And then they sort of forge this fake date. So we already have the introduction that Grandpa went on this weird wonky date with Widow. I can't remember the name of Widow.
I want to say Widow Windshift, but I know that's from Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow's fantastic. I love that.
So's the Widow Windshift. Oh.
I feel like you're getting worse and worse as these episodes go on.
I am. Grandpa's got great taste. Well done, Grandpa.
What have we got next week? We've got a Bonanza else next week.
Yes, we have.
I'd love to see you try and create some sort of creepy obsession in that film.
100% I'm getting.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Let's just cut back to the whole fight scene at the end because I have no idea where we are in this film anymore.
No, I don't. So David turns up at the house, and so do the other vampires. How many are left now? There's 4? 3?
3. There's David, 3. The blonde one, and the Indian one.
Yeah, long-haired Native American, I think is the term you're looking for.
That's the one I was looking for. Yeah. Do you know what's cool about this? When they first come and they're like barricading the windows and they're barricading the doors and like, don't let them in, don't invite them in. Rah, rah, rah. This dude just fucking bursts through the chimney.
Yeah.
Through the floor, just blows his chimney open. He's like, rah. It's like, cool.
Yeah, he didn't need an inviting.
No, it's just all that shit's gone out the window now. It's game time. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, so he bursts through the floor and then literally this scene is like chaos. Like everything is going on in this scene. You've got like one of them attacks the Frog Brothers up in the bathroom and they're filling the bath earlier with holy water and garlic and is that the best way? Does he melt when they dump him in there?
Pretty much, yeah. So they try and attack him with garlic, at which point the vampire laughs at them in terms of say, garlic doesn't work on us. So he's like, holy water does. And he flicks some water out of the bath into his face. And cool practical effects as his face starts sort of melting. And I think he turns around and says something like, nice try, now you die, or something like that to the Frog Brothers. And as he goes to attack them, Nanook bursts through the door.
Yeah.
And like karate kicks this vampire into the bath.
He does come through very much like fucking Liu Kang. Like, wah!
Yeah. If you watch that scene back and you see the way that the dog's like thrown against him, it's almost as if someone has picked Nanook up and thrown him at this guy.
It was the 80s, 100% a stagehand threw Nanook at the vampire.
Yeah,
they literally picked him up and threw him. The dog's like, what the fuck's going on? I've kicked him. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's so bad. And the vampire falls into the bath and he is melting, disintegrating in this bath water. Not before the Frog Brothers creep up to the edge of the bath as if to have one last look as he's slowly melting away. And he just sort of perks out, jumps out to give one last scare.
Yeah.
Before finally falling into the bath. But as he does so, the plumbing in all of the house just implodes on itself. You get blood gushing from every single faucet in the house, the tap in the kitchen, everywhere. It's coming from all angles. Really, really cool. But the reason why this is so good is because before David and the rest of the Lost Boys turn up to the house, we have this brief interaction between Sam and the Frog Brothers where they dissect the death of vampires and they talk about how each one goes out differently. No vampire dies the same. And they talk about how one will go out quietly, one will go out up in flames, one will go out kicking and screaming.
Yeah, one will
and it
explode.
basically foreshadows how the rest of the film's going to play out.
Yeah,
and
it does.
It gives you a brief description of what each one is basically going to reach their mortality in. And this is the first one to go, and this one goes out with a bang and basically floods the whole house in blood.
Yeah, and it's super, super cool. It looks great. The practical effects are great. The next vampire, I always forget how the next vampire dies. The blonde vampire it always slips my mind.
Well, the blonde vampire is not the next one to go. The next one to go is the
Native American.
The Native American is the next one to go, because the Frog Brothers are slightly distracted by the fact that Laddie has fully vamped out at this point. He goes after the Frog Brothers. They chase him through the house before Star protects him. But while this is going on, Sam is downstairs. And as Sam is downstairs, the
Native American. I'll keep helping
Native
you
American gentleman. That's all right, cool. The Native American guy comes out to attack Sam. Sam picks up the bow and arrow and tries to shoot it. And you think that this guy has gone down and is dead. Only for him to just to quickly, well, I say quickly, it's sort of like you have this old tension building moment before he finally stands up and says, ha ha ha, you missed. Before Sam quickly pulls a bow and arrow and goes and says, this time I won't, or something really 80s, corny, cheesy, along those lines. Hits him again. He falls back into the jukebox, causing the jukebox to explode, but while at the same time banging out In Excess.
I didn't forget. I just wanted you to do it.
as he sort of electrocutes and dies at the same time.
And Sam hits him with the best line of the movie, without a doubt. Death by stereo.
Everybody hates his line, and I don't understand why.
I love it.
Perfect encapsulation of this era.
So good. So good. We get the final fight between Michael and David. I love this scene. I love how they shot it. I've seen all the outtakes and all the behind the scenes of how they shot this, the effort that went into these two diving across the room and fighting in midair. You would not believe the amount of work that went in to do this. This took up 3 weeks of a 9-week shoot, this one scene.
And one of my biggest gripes with this film, I remember when I reviewed this many moons ago, was that I didn't like the fact that there wasn't enough flying vampire scenes.
But this scene's
now
awesome.
You say that, and how long it took just to shoot this 30-second scene.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me understand why they didn't go down that road with it.
They got over 20 minutes of shoot for this scene to cut it down to what they ended up with.
Wow.
So they basically, there's this bit where they kind of stand off either side of the room and they jump and they fight in the air and they're wrestling in the air. And then Michael plunges him across the room and David ends up on the horns because Grandpa's a taxidermist and there's an antlers on a deer hanging out the wall and he impales him on this. And it's at this point where you're like, the movie's over. Everything's okay. They've solved everything. And Mum and Max return.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but this final fight sequence between Michael and David is very... I love this film unconditionally, but it is very anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic, very much so.
Because how it plays out is you've got Michael and David. Michael finally fully vamps. You get full Michael vampire version now. Teeth, contact lenses, facial features a lot. And they have this big showdown. And it basically lasts the course of 2 flight scenes.
Yeah.
They jump at each other in the middle of the room. I think maybe there is a slight incident where like David gets the upper hand and throws Michael up until the balcony before they finally come down and fight again. Michael throws David against a wall where all the antlers are on the wall, and he puts David in between, and then David turns around and says, "My turn now."
Yeah.
And as he throws him they open the door into the room where all Grandpa's taxidermy stuff is. Michael grabs onto the sort of purling on the ceiling, and as he's holding onto it, he manages to find the strength to sort of turn around and impale David. And this is over within a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
And this is a fight scene we've been waiting for this entire film. One of my biggest gripes about this scene is the fact that David is a well-equipped vampire. We're assuming he's been a vampire for a very long time.
There's a different outcome to this that they shot, but they didn't release that I would have preferred.
Yeah, because David was originally supposed to survive this.
He was.
Because he was supposed to be in the sequel, The Lost Girls. As far as I
know. The Lost Girls.
Absolutely dreadful. It sounds like Ghostbusters, the remake from the 80s. However...
Why do you hate girls?
I love girls. obviously not as much as you. You like...
I like girls. Tall one, short one.
That is a tune, by the way.
It is a tune. What a banger.
But yeah, this whole overall final sequence between Michael and David does feel very anticlimactic.
It does, but it ties in nicely because the mum and Max comes back and the mum's like, what the fuck is going on in my house? As any mum from the 80s, the mum from the 80s is one step away from picking up a slipper or a wooden spoon. So what the fuck is going on? And Max is like walking around, he's like, he goes over, he looks at David and he strokes his face. He's like, I see my boys have been bad. I'm really sorry. My boys need a mum. And this is where you come in. You're going to be their mum. And then as he turns around, he's like full on vampire.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. And he gives
shitty little effect. He looks the worst.
This is the bit where he gives it the, none of the tests worked before because you invited me in, you lost all your power. This is where Michael goes, I didn't invite you this time, Max.
Badass.
And they have their fight scene.
Well, they have a brief tuffle.
They have very brief tuffle. And Max dies.
Immediately by Grandpa bursting through the wall.
Grandpa is fucking awesome. So they're having this fight. It looks like Michael's about to lose. And Grandpa, when he left in his little truck thing earlier, you heard him fire his Dixie horn. And instead of going, diddle-da, diddle-da, his goes, diddle-da, diddle-da. That's so shit. And you hear that as he comes back in. And as you hear it, he like bursts through the wall. And like, Max is dead. You're dead. You're done.
Yeah, game over. Film over. The end.
No, not quite the end. We still get a great line from Grandpa. He's like, the one thing I hate about Santa Clara is all the damn vampires. Then you get credits roll.
Yeah. And I love this build-up as well, because as he comes in, Diane Weist is like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he walks immediately to the fridge, ignoring all the carnage that's going on around him, as if he's like used to it, if you will.
Yeah.
Opens the fridge, grabs a root beer, and says that line. What the fuck? How did he know all this is going on, and why has he not said anything beforehand?
There was a deeper plot written for number 2, which I'll give away here, not in facts. I'll give it away before we get into memes to make you mad. So Grandpa is a vampire hunter, has been a vampire hunter for a very, very long time. And in the sequel, it was Grandpa who was meant to be leading the charge against the vampire. So in the sequel, the idea was that a bigger bad vampire was coming to Santa Clara to find out what the fuck happened to his tribe. And he brings with him the Lost Girls. And he finds that David isn't dead, and he basically helps heal David, and then they go on the attack again. And it's meant to be Grandpa leading the Frog Brothers in a charge against the vampire. That was meant to be the sequel that we never got.
That would have been amazing.
It was fucking awesome. Awesome. And instead we waited 2 decades and got the Lost Boys, The Tribe, which I don't even want to talk about.
I haven't seen it, so I don't care. I like to live in the naive world that this is on its own.
No, we get The Tribe where Corey Feldman leads the charge as a vampire. It's not good. And then there's a third one as well, which is even worse, where Corey Feldman is turned into a vampire. Wow. You know how Corey Feldman is now? That mental, crazy person who's got his music.
Yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah, imagine that, but him fully vamped out like in this movie. It's that for 90 minutes.
Okay, then I need to watch that.
To be fair, we'd have fun with that on the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the movie. Memes to make you mad. So I gave Memes to Make You Mad a massive overhaul, and I decided to make it Reels to Make You Rage and not tell Mark. In this, Mark become the first victim of Reels to Make You Rage.
This isn't fair.
Not only you weren't the only victim, but you were the first victim. You done well. So I posted a reel where it was some woman went, tell us your most controversial horror take. To which I went on to say that Halloween 3 is the best of the Halloween franchise. Halloween 1 and 2 are dull, and Halloween Ends is a fitting end to the franchise. And I knew this would spark so much rage from so many people. And it was entirely aimed at one person to just see if he would go, this is a Mean to Make You Mad repackaged. But you didn't.
No, I didn't buy
But I'm not.
into it.
I'm not going with you first. The other person I got was Whole Doll Parts, who is Katie, one half of Spaceman of the Doll podcast. She went, Halloween Ends is anything but a solid ending. It's floppy, soppy, and whimpering at the end. It's a terrible movie, and it definitely wasn't a good ending. As for the rest of your opinions, they're like arseholes, innit? Everyone's got one.
Brilliant.
Which made me chuckle. Now, what I got from you was, not today, mate. I know what you're doing, and it's not going to work. I didn't say anything. I let it go. And you put, and I think you're purposely trying to antagonize me, so I'm not biting. And I didn't reply to that either. I left it. I then got, I would like to say, however, you can't possibly think that H3 is the best in the franchise. And then he stopped, and I'd said nothing else. There's another comment. H4 is the best in the franchise. I'm done. Turns out,
I was
Mark,
not done.
you were not done. Not by a long
not
shot.
done.
You've another comment. I've got the timing. So there's this comment. It was 19 minutes later. So 19 minutes you stewed and you raged on this. You put, also, given the dumpster fire that is H3, it is clear this franchise cannot survive with Myers. You then stopped. 23 minutes later, I am now done. I can't do this anymore. I'm not biting. To which I replied, you've done so well. Well done for not biting. Good for you. Clappy hands. I then messaged you straight afterward. That was the new format of Reeves to make you mad. You're like, you fucker.
Oh, I couldn't believe it, because the thing is, I was just so casually doing it. I was like, oh, da, 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 da. And then I put my phone away, carried on with my day, and then it came back to me. I was like, oh, fucking asshole.
Honestly, it was like we had so many comments on it, and just I could have gone with so many people's, but you made me laugh so much. You were like, you fucking arsehole, I'm done. Actually, I'm not done. I want to say this, and this. Now I'm done. No, I'm still not done. I hate you.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So, to make everyone aware, moving forward, memes to make you mad can come in many forms. It can come in a reel. It can come in a meme. It can come in a TikTok. It can even come in a live. Just be pre-warned. There may be a live that comes up that it's just a live to fucking annoy you. And I will take all your comments from that live and drop them into the episode. Now we've found out how much I upset you. Let's find out what everyone else thought about this movie.
Well, I think it's time for 3-word review. Yeehaw!
Today is the most participated edition of 3-word reviews since the show began. By a country mile. Over 200 submissions.
Wow.
For 3-word review across all our social media. TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter heavily involved this week. Massively so. Yeah, Twitter is like, I'll go, review this movie in 3 words. And Trish will go, nah. This week, what I said this week was, review The Lost Boys in 3 words. I bet you can't, Twitter. Exclamation mark. And the whole of Twitter went, I fucking can, you motherfucker. Watch me go.
It's clear the dynamic of what goes on in Twitter.
Twitter, I've worked out recently, Twitter needs someone. You can't just go on Twitter and go, hey, look at this, it's great. What you need to do on Twitter is go, you can't see this because it's too good for you, and then share the link. And every fucking person on Twitter will quit, it's not too good for me, I will view it now. Works really well.
Little assholes.
They are. We'll start with Instagram. We've got postcards from Hobbs Ends. Needs more sacks.
Yes.
I could do with
I would like to see a version of The Lost Boys where Tim Capello is either a frog brother or a lost boy.
Tim Capello as a lost boy. Take the scene in the cave with just Tim Capello sat in the background, just all a cappella going, I still believe. While a scene's going on, I don't want him to be just in the background, just him playing it.
Perfect.
Yeah, brilliant. Death by VHS, Death by Stereo, and they're a VHS collector and a former recommended account of the week by you. We've got Queer Horror High, gay as fuck. It really is. I can't deny it. And they're a queer horror podcast. Going over to Twitter, who normally they just don't play. We've got Bitey Jeff, 80 Vampires Greatness, and they're a home brewer and horror dad. We've got Dewey Pod Monster, We Don't Sparkle, and they're a horror podcast, and they've instantly made an enemy out of Heather. And we've got Paul Childs, I Still Believe.
It's always Tim Capello best.
Yeah,
I love Tim Capello.
I do, and he's a horror writer. Let's venture over onto TikTok. We've got Jesse Horror, Epic 80s Vampires, and they're a horror account. Mr. Meathook, not that great.
Oh,
that's what I thought.
Meathook.
I know. They're a voice actor and filmmaker. And then we've got Whitey Raines, Greatest Vampire Movie.
Yeah.
And they're a new account to TikTok. I have no idea what they do because when they commented on this, they hadn't shared any videos, but go and give them a follow. There were so many this week that I wanted to credit and cheer, and I just couldn't get everyone in. But I do want us to do a 3-word review this week. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'm going to go with Hottie Causes Chaos.
80s hair perfection.
Who's got the best hair in this?
Ted.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, he has the curliest perm lock, White Snake, Def Leppard.
He does
going on.
But I quite like Kiefer Sutherland's, it's almost like a modern 80s mullet.
It's very, very cool, but Ted's is pretty impressive.
Kiefer's very much is like business at the front, party at the back, but also kind of business at the back, party at the front. He's kind of like... I want to invite this guy to a movie, or to a party. He just looks like he'd be great fun.
Yeah, that is until he eats you all.
This is true.
Facts and fuck-ups.
We're only doing facts this week because there are no fuck-ups because this is a damn near perfect movie. Fair?
100% fair.
Yeah. We're going to start off because you asked earlier, budget. How much do you reckon they spent on this in 1986 when they filmed it?
$35 million.
$8.5 million.
Yeah, I would have. Actually, you should have guessed I was wildly off with my assumption. I have no
massively
concept of.
How much do you reckon it done its opening weekend?
I reckon this is one of those films that probably flopped.
Didn't flop. Opening weekend was $5.5 million.
Is that good?
Opening weekend, that's not bad. You've done 3/4 of your budget back in 2 days.
Yeah, that is good.
Gross worldwide, $32.5 million. So it made money, decent money, 3 times what they spent on it.
So put that into comparison to the new Evil Dead Rise, which has done exceptionally well off their budget.
So this was a $30 million movie making roughly $350.
And Evil Dead Rise is currently
120 something million at the minute.
Off an $8.5 million
budget. So Evil Dead Rise done better, but this done really, really, really well. VHS market made an estimated, because VHS isn't guaranteed, so this is from the rental and from the purchasing, an extra $60 million.
Yeah, so it kind of borderline falls into that cult classic era kind of thing where everyone fell into it afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah, this was a box office hit. It wasn't a massive smash, but it was a hit. And then it was probably 6 or 7 years later where the whole world went, oh, there's a vampire movie I've not seen. Let's take that home for a blockbuster. And that followed God knows how many VHS. It's one of the few DVDs I actually own a physical copy of.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those films where, like, I listen to multiple podcasts, two of them being Dead and Lovely and Two Guys and a Chainsaw. Both of those podcast members, each having their own dynamic duo like we do ourselves. One of them had grown up loving The Lost Boys and one of them had never seen it. And in both podcasts, each one turned around and was like, I've never seen this film before, but I love everything about it, and this will now be an annual watch for me.
Yeah.
That's how impactful this film is still to this day.
Yeah, it's an iconic movie, and I've seen people bash this, and anyone who bashes this, go watch it again, because you're wrong. Yeah, basically. The guy who wrote the theme song to Cry Little Sister had not seen the movie when he wrote it. So the movie had been shot. He was asked if he wanted to be sent a copy to watch, and he said no. He said, send me the script. So they sent him a copy of the script. He sat and he read the script, took him 3 days to read it, and then he recorded Cry Little Sister and sent it to them and said, that's the only version you're getting, take it or leave it.
Wow.
Yeah. So he read it and then decided what he wanted to do from reading it as opposed to watching it, which is awesome. And that's Gerard McMahon.
He just saw me looking at the CD cover in my
I did. Mark's got a copy of the Lost Boys soundtrack, thinking I didn't have the name.
I was like, who sang that song there then? Yes, it is Gerard McCann.
Yeah.
I don't know him from anything. Does he have a history or?
Not that I know of.
That's quite a bold statement to make to a Warner Brothers studio and be like, this is what you're getting, take it or leave it.
Yeah, and he did. And fair play to him. Do you reckon when he said that to Warner Brothers, take it or leave it, some exec went, fuck you, put it on him and went, cry, and he went, okay, fine. Send him a check in the post.
I reckon Gerard McCann was sat there writing this song and he was like, this shit slaps.
Yeah, this is a banger, and I know they would say, I can literally message them back, fuck you, dickhead, here's my song. And they're going to say thank you.
Yeah, because this song is phenomenal. There is no denying. You even only have to hear the opening beat and you're like, Lost Boys.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I'm in when I sign.
Yeah.
You know the scene where they do like the beach party bit?
Yes.
2,000 extras signed up for that. And it was shot over 3 nights. Not a single one of them were paid in anything but beer.
Spring break.
What a great weekend that is. We're filming a movie down on the promenade. Would you like to come? We can't pay you, but your drink is free. Yeah, that's fine. I'm getting paid at least $400 tonight. That's absolutely cool.
Yeah. Party on.
Yeah, exactly that. So the cave, I mentioned this earlier. So the cave, the set, did you notice the poster on the wall?
Yeah, Jim
Morrison,
yeah.
So he recorded the original version of People Are Strange, and he done that with the Doors. When Star and Laddie are carried into Sam's room, there's a poster of Echo and the Bunnymen on the wall, who recorded the version of People Are Strange that you used in the movie.
I prefer the Echo and the Bunnymen version, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I do, but I like the fact that they had both versions in there.
Yeah.
Little nods.
Because they sang the Killing Moon song for Donnie Darko as well.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Echo and the Bunnymen are awesome. Underrated band by all accounts.
They are. Some of the facts today are going to upset you slightly.
What, me personally?
100% you personally. gonna thrill some of our listeners, but upset you quite a lot. The Lost Boys was the largest inspiration for Buffy the Vampire TV series. They invented the phrase "vamp out," which was later adopted by the TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Also, Donald Sutherland, who is Keith Sutherland's dad, played a vampire hunter in Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie 5 years after this was released, after ignoring his son going, please don't do that.
Fuck Buffy, man.
Kiefer Sutherland literally rung his dad and went, please don't do that. I've made like an iconic vampire movie. Don't be a vampire slayer. And his dad went,
typical dad.
Not being funny. One of my kids went, look, I've done this really great thing. I know you've got the opportunity to do the exact opposite. Please don't do it. I'd be like, I'm going to do it for half the fee. Tim Capello, as we know as the oily sax man from For Love of Horror, he made his name touring with Tina Turner, and he made a spectacular comeback. So when this movie came out, he was on his arse. His career was in the toilet. So he toured with Tina Turner, and kind of after that, there was nothing available for him. He got involved with the Lost Boys, and they offered him a 30-second clip. He agreed, and he went, and they done this whole beach scene where he performed. He just basically said to them, look, just go and shoot what you want. I'm just going to perform. I'm here for the crowd. I'm here for all the people you're giving free beer for. After they shot it, that scene ended up 4 minutes, 18 seconds.
What a guy.
Yeah. You want to use 30 seconds? Tell you what, you use 30 seconds because I know you'll use him more because I'm that damn good. You know when they drop off the bridge?
Yep.
Same order they die.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. I didn't pick up on that at all.
No, I didn't. Exactly the same order they die. Kiefer Sutherland, perfect as David, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think they cast originally who dropped out before they started filming?
Oh, I know this as well.
Alrighty then.
No, I did not know that. They cast Jim Carrey in this role.
Jim Carrey was cast on the back of Once Bitten, and they were about to start filming, and he pulled out to do another movie. Could you imagine Jim Carrey as David?
Oh, no chance.
Michael turns around and he goes, well, come with us, Michael. All righty then. Drink the wine. Party, because I gotta.
Oh, please leave the invitations to Dave, man.
I need to. You can also see the movie poster for Once Bitten. That's in the video store. And that was put there because when they set up the set, Jim Carrey was in the role. So, but they put the poster there, but they left it there because it's like, well, fuck him, he's not here. But it's the set design guy went, I'm not changing it now.
No.
This is your problem.
That would have been so weird having Jim Carrey play David and then having that poster in the background.
Yeah, I think they were trying to be meta before meta was a thing, but I just can't. I cannot picture Jim Carrey in this movie and doing it deadpan serious.
No, I think his career would have maybe taken a different tone altogether had that have occurred.
Yeah. Do you know there's an alternative ending to this that they never shot?
I have to assume so, based on my knowledge of David not supposed to die.
The alternative ending is better, and I wish they'd shot it. I wish I had this deleted scene. So the movie ended on a joke, Grandpa going, all the damn vampires. That wasn't originally meant to be it. So originally what was going to happen was Grandpa was going to go to the refrigerator. So when he goes to the refrigerator, it's meant to cut to the Lost Boys regrouping in the sunken hotel. The last shot was meant to be of the mural on the wall. And it was basically Max from the 1900s looking as he did today. And then David saying, I will avenge you. That was meant to be the end of the movie. And they binned that just for the gag and then didn't bother shooting that.
No, I kind of prefer the way that it ended, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's quite close booked, isn't it? Something that we don't really experience these days. It is that is it. It's confined, you know. It's
not. There's two sequels.
We don't need to no. There's not. There's not two sequels to this film.
Spoiler, everyone. Halloween season, we have one of the sequels in a poll for our Vampire Week.
I hope we get it. I would like to, because I am not going to watch those sequels unless I'm forced to.
Honest to God, if we get it. You know how like full of love this episode's been? If you flip this episode on its head, you won't even be close to the amount of disdain and hatred that will come out of our mouths for 90 minutes.
I've honestly never even come into any contact with anything regarding the sequels. I've never seen a trailer.
There's a reason.
Still shot.
Watch the trailer. Watch the trailer for Lost Boys 2 and let me know what you think.
Is it going to taint my love for this film knowing that they exist?
It won't damage the Lost Boys, but you will look at it and go, why? Who signed off on this? What studio exec went, yes, Corey Feldman, you can have whatever you want in this movie?
Oh, is he the lead role?
He's the lead role in the second one. In the third one, he's like a vampire who's like bad, but he's not bad. It's just terrible. I just can't.
It sounds awful.
I can't even go how bad it is. Do you want to take things first, or do you want me to go first? Fuck me, I didn't ask you the final question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's not that hard.
I just kind of felt like I was falling into it and felt like I should go with it.
Yeah, you go with it.
First.
No, okay.
Okay, I'll go with it. You go first.
You sure? Okay, I'll go first. As I said at the start of Facts, this is almost a perfect movie. It's the second best vampire movie ever made, very closely behind the heels of Bram Stoker's Dracula. The cast is great. The comedic timing is perfectly mixed with the violence and the nostalgia for the 80s. There's a huge element of nostalgia in this, and I love it because of when I discovered it. But I don't think if you discovered this, if I showed my boys this tomorrow, I think they would love this, not because of the nostalgia, but because it's a fucking good movie. And I think if I showed my boys this, which I plan to, they're going to sit there and go, oh, was that really a thing in the 80s? Oh, was that really a thing in the 80s? It's that kind of movie that's just so, it encapsulates such a decade that I don't think any other movie gets it like this. The soundtrack is, well, outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And take that away, this movie is not as good. If you take the songs out of this movie is kind of like, nah, it's okay. Stick People Are Strange in there. Stick Cry Little Sister. Stick Stay Away from the Night, Lost in the Shell. It's great. It just all works. I hold this movie in such high regard, but I am genuinely excited to see what they do with the reboot of this. So we're getting a reboot in 2024, and I hope that they can encapsulate everything from this generation in a movie like they did with The Lost Boys. They captured my childhood in this movie. And if they can recapture that magic again for another generation, The Lost Boys will live for another 30 years. I don't have a huge amount to say about it. It's fucking great. Go watch it. It's a 10 out of 10.
Solid score. Very, very respectable score. Love this film. I think that's been fairly obvious throughout the course of this episode.
No.
How much I've ranted and raved and interrupted you multiple times and made you backpedal to focus on certain scenes. I'm not particularly a big lover of vampire films. In terms of what I tend to go for, if I see a vampire film pop up on streaming services that I haven't seen, I'm likely not to go and watch it. It's just not something that I enjoy. I don't necessarily find the fanciful element of these films something that I enjoy. However, The Lost Boys is a time capsule for everything that I wish I grew up in.
I did. I'm old as fuck.
So I kind of just grew up on the back end of this stuff. It was more of a when I watched this as a kid, it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's even cooler. And like, I didn't quite get to live it, but I
Damn
came.
it! I'm wearing a kappa. I'm wearing a kappa tracksuit.
I came off it like just on the back end of that era where like it was still prevalent, but not quite at the forefront. And going back and watching this makes me very, very envious as a person to not have experienced growing up in this time period. And I know this is a film, and I know it's definitely not exactly like it's portrayed, especially considering this is an American film and we are English.
Not being funny, it wasn't far off. This was Brighton in 1989.
Fuck off, this is Brighton in 1989. No fucking way was it Brighton in 1989. This wasn't even America in 1989. I love this film. I love the casting. I think everybody does an outstanding job with the roles that they're given. The Coreys, this was their first film together. They went on to cement themselves as the two Coreys going forward, and this was the film that birthed that movement between the two of them. I love the practical effects, something that's more focused upon in the last act than it is throughout the rest of the film, but that's not necessarily an issue because the storytelling and the writing throughout is so incredibly thought about and planned and processed that every single interaction between characters has a meaning and has a purpose. And then by the time it all ties together, you kind of have this light bulb moment in the closing act where you're like, oh, that scene that you didn't think had any relevance does have relevance, and so forth. And it all sort of comes together in a nice, neat little bow. Every time I turn this film on, I hear those opening sounds that we've talked about. The soundtrack is incredible. The score is phenomenal. And I like the way that they don't necessarily focus too heavily on a particular score. What they do is they take the soundtrack from the INXS songs, from the Cry Little Sister songs, and instead of focusing particularly on a score as a John Hughes or whoever else is a Rod, something Howard, whichever you want to talk about composers wise, they take the songs that are featured and slow them down and use them as beat per beat as opposed to crafting an actual orchestral score. Cry Little Sister is used in this countless times, even though you hear it in the opening sequence as the actual full version of the song. There's countless moments and dramatic scenes throughout this film where they take those beats and they take that sort of 1-2 rhythm and introduce it as a score as well as a soundtrack. I love this film. I love everything about this film. I love the joy that it brings to me when I watch this film time and time again. This is without doubt a 5 out of 5.
We agree.
For once in our life, yeah. And I've criticised this film and I've pulled bits apart in terms of the logicness about it, but it falls within the similar category to me as the Gremlins or the Goonies or any sort of silly little 80s film that you watch from yonder year where you sit down and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that some things don't line up correctly. It doesn't matter that one actor's a little bit wonkier than the other. It doesn't matter because no matter what feeling you have within that time, as soon as you put this film on, everything else goes away.
Yeah.
And you just sit and enjoy and just feel yourself taken away to a different place.
Yeah, I mean, we had a text conversation when we were watching this, and you text me, went, I haven't stopped, I'm 20 minutes in, I haven't stopped smiling. And I was like, I'm just about to start, I'll let you know. And I was like, you were like, what do you think you'll score this? I was like, oh, maybe it'll be an 8, maybe it'll be a 9, might be a 10. I don't know, I haven't watched it for a long time. And then I text you like 2 minutes in, went, it started, the music's hit, I have not stopped smiling yet. And honestly, I smiled all the way through this. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this film does. It just brings joy to people.
Yeah.
And But
fuck your Disney's movies. You want the Lost Boys. Forget Lilo and Stitch.
Exactly. And it's just, it has this sort of hold and this sense of feeling that comes over you when you're watching this film. And I know there is countless films, and I've seen hundreds and hundreds of movies in my lifespan. Some dog shit, trust me, we all know. But every time I put this film on, all of that just goes away, and there's not many films that I can sit down and put on and just invest. You know, I don't look at my phone. I don't get up to get a snack. I'm just there. As soon as it starts, that's it. That's me until the end. And that's a very, very rare thing for me to have to sit through.
And for me, it is mostly around the score. I mean, the movie's great, but like the score, as I said earlier, you take the score away from this, it's not as good. That opening bit where you sit down and you get the shot coming across the water and it's silent, you hear this, and then it goes, instantly you're like, ooh, what's this? And like the bit where like Michael's with David the first time and he's like, you don't need to beat me, you just need to catch up, and they burn off across the beach. It's like, wow. And it's all because the last in the shit is that like, oh, this is so cool. Like, even when they come into the
its finest.
it's fabulous. If you haven't seen this, you can watch it pretty much everywhere, but you need to put your hand in your pocket. It's not free. Rent it everywhere. Yeah, there's nowhere streaming free here or in the US or in Australia. It's between, I don't know, $3 and $5, or if you want, you can buy a copy of this for $9, or you can go to your local second-hand store and probably pick this up on DVD for 99p, which I did. I've got a 99p copy behind me somewhere.
But just be a freak like I am and collect VHS tapes, and you'll own it for life.
Have you got this on VHS?
I have, right here. Da, 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 da.
So you've got that. See, I've got the DVD. The DVD, I've got the red cover.
Oh no, I've got the original classic release, Warner Brothers.
Oh, very classy. Very, very classy. Let's do Guess the Year.
So last week's quote was from World's End, and the year was 2013.
Yeah, and I gave Evil Dead as the movie, and anyone didn't get that. Oh, in fact, everybody messaged me 1981. You're all wrong, because that was the Evil Dead. Just to be really finicky. What's your movie quote this week?
My movie quote from this week is, "You are more beautiful than Cinderella.
Thank you.
You smell like pine needles and have a face like sunshine."
Oh, that's so sweet. What's your quote?
That was my quote. I just read my quote.
Damn it, I thought you were being nice to me.
When would I ever?
This is true. My movie is what predates Stranger Things. It's Stranger Things, but in a movie form. It is Super 8.
I love that film.
Such a good movie. One of Steven Spielberg's best and massively underrated.
That kind of came and went very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. And my song is Born This Way. And that is by Lady Gaga.
Oh, put your paws up, little monsters.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm pretty sure this week's fairly easy, I think. We have no clear... I have not given an update on this. I'm not going to do a scoreboard either, purely because it's too much hassle, because there's so many people playing this now. There is like next to nothing between our top 10. Like, we're talking 1 point between them at any given time. The number one spot's changed like every week we've done it.
That's interesting. Maybe we should do something really obscure next week then.
I think we need to pick a year that's like, I don't know, had the shittest movies. Give like a really obscure quote, and I'll give a movie that like everyone's like, I don't know what movie that is. What movie is that? That's what we need to do next week.
Yeah, we'll do that next week. We'll sort of try and separate. Can't say the men from the boys these days, can you?
No, you can't. Don't forget you support the show in many, many ways. The best one is leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Spotify, thank you so much, everyone who listens on Spotify who's given us 5-star reviews. As of this morning, we are sat at number 22 in the horror podcast rankings in global podcasts. There are 16,000 horror podcasts in the world, and we are number 22. Thank you so, so much.
Very cool.
Very cool. Fucking blew my mind. I was like, I'm just going to put in horror podcasts and scroll through where we are. And normally it's like a scroll and a scroll and a scroll, like 10 minutes later. I literally scrolled like 3 pages, like, fuck, it's us. And then it's like, I'll scroll back up. I can count that many. I don't need like extra hands or anything.
That is very, very impressive. Thank you very cool. all for your support. It's incredible. Really is.
We're at You Run Podcast everywhere on social media. If you want to follow Mark individually, he's at MW_horror_reviews, and he's on Instagram. Don't follow him anywhere else because he won't talk to you. He genuinely won't.
No, I genuinely won't. You might struggle to get a conversation out of me on Instagram these days, to be honest.
We also have a merch shop, yourunpodcast.com. Buy something, anything you want. Also support our sponsor, YouRun10 is the code you need, and it's at w.gg, and you get discount off of all your energy drinks, and yeah, it's great. Go do it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And next week we are back with, and I'm getting you to pronounce it, I'm not fucking doing it. No, I want you to do it properly because I know you can.
Fernantinamos.
I take it back. You can't do it.
I can't. Fernantinamos. No.
Yeah.
Fernantinamos.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on a loop. Stop me.
That sounds good. This is a listener request from Eric82. And as a special treat, we went and contacted the director of Thananaman, who amazingly agreed to come on and give us an interview. And Mark went off and interviewed the director. What's the director's name?
Eric Falabadudu.
That's not going to cut it. What's his surname?
No, that's about as good as I've got.
Okay, so next week we've got an interview with director Eric blah, 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 and we're reviewing so don't
that's really, really insulting. I do apologize. That guy is a phenomenal dude. The interview is fantastic, and I will, trust me, have more professionalism by the time the interview rolls around.
And at this point, we're a week out, and I have not watched it because I said the reason this ended up on the show is I said that looks gross. I don't want to watch it. It's not my sort of film. And then Eric, being as Eric is, knows how this show works, and then sent in a voicemail going, "Yeah, I want you to review that movie." And I said, "Oh, fuck's sake!" So I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, you should. It's phenomenal.
Okay, now. Yeah, next week is going to be interesting, I think. Yeah, but whatever happens, whatever we say, we've got an excellent interview with the director.
No, jokes aside, it is a fantastic film. It really, really is. Very, very cool. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. I hope you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I've not seen it, and everyone knows me by now. I'll say it as I see it. If I watch it and go, "This is awful," I'll tell you. But
it's dark, it's grim, it's a weird experience. But I feel like there's enough there for you to take away something that will help you speak positively towards this film, regardless of how. You know my taste in horror, and you know that I like weird shit. This is my wheelhouse.
That sounds like Lisa describing me in bed. It's dark, it's grim. Most people won't like it, but I'm pretty sure you'll get something out of it you enjoy.
Oh, poor Lisa.
Yeah, and on that note, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you in a week's time. See you later.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man, I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
You didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that'd be even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually. Yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Busta Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome.